Welcome. I'm talking about fun today. We're talking about all the fun today, and I need some fucking fun today. So that's what we're going to talk about. How are you? As you jump on, let me know if you're here listening live or if you're listening to the replay. Just give me a hashtag replay so I can come back in and check and see what you learned from this live stream. I'm going to be sharing a couple stories today. So, I was the queen of fun. The queen of fun. The organizer of fun. The conscious fun creator. And as a little girl, I would organize neighborhood games. Did anyone else have? So like my neighborhood, there was one entrance in and one exit, same entrance and exit. There was one way in and one way out, and they're the same way. And so it was like a pretty enclosed, more like private neighborhood, and everyone's, houses were pretty close together, but we all had backyards, and we would... Is that really loud? Can you guys hear that in the background? My husband is blowing leaves off of the roof. Oh, there he is on the roof. Okay, he just turned it off. He's definitely not done yet, though. So we would organize these games, and there was also a fair number of kids in my neighborhood. Did you guys grow up, it's really loud? Yeah. Okay, honey, I guess I'll just move. So, we would have all of these games, and these games were they were like the highlight of our day. And I was the creator of these games oftentimes, and we would all get together and we would all play these games, and they would be like freeze tag and ghost to the graveyard and capture the flag and soccer games and kickball games and kick the can and Foursquare. The microwave's not beeping. No, there's no beeping happening. It's just loud at my house today, and my husband is very much working on the yard. So we would play all of these games, and even when we played these games, it was just an opportunity for us to escape into this world of imagination. So I'm curious, what was your childhood like? What kind of, if you grew up in a neighborhood, what was your neighborhood like? Were there kids? Did you play? We were the queens and kings of playing, and I would be outside all day. I would never have shoes on, and I would just play. I would play all day, and all the games, all the fun. And we even played this game called Sarah's Store. And Sarah's Store was just this little imaginary store, and it literally started with just Sarah's Store, and the premise of it was food that I had stolen from my mom's pantry, and that I would sell to the neighborhood kids in exchange for rocks, leaves, sticks, and especially chunks of the driveway. So I'm sure my mom loved that. And they would come and they would buy from my store with these pieces of the driveway, with these leaves, with these sticks, and all of these things. And eventually he is following me with the leaf blower. Now he's down here. Now he's in the backyard. I'm going back up to my office. So we would play these games that were our imaginary world, and I would sell food from the pantry that was sold in exchange for, it's so much quieter, for leaves and rocks and chunks of the driveway. And eventually this game that was Sarah's Store turned into this whole world. So other people would come and we'd all play our part, and they'd have their store and I'd have my store, and I always was the owner of a food store. I wanted to feed the neighborhood, I guess. Again, I'm sure my mom really appreciated that. And when it would get cold, like in the colder months, so I'm from Michigan, so we have a lot of cold months. I don't live there anymore, now I'm in Colorado. But in the colder months, we would take it into my basement. So we also were the family who had like 4 kids, so that was like a big family. And so we had 4 kids. I was the oldest of the 4 of us. And we would take this imaginary world of Sarah's store that expanded into all these other stores, and we would take them into the basement. And we called it Small Town. So my last name was Small, and then all my siblings as well. We called it Small Town. And from the moment you walked down the stairs into the basement at my mom's house, you had to then, you got to the bottom landing, and you'd have to like duck under, and you'd have to crawl into Small Town. It was literally the entire basement was this giant fort. So we had made this fort in this world out of like sheets and pillows and boxes, and we had pathways that took you to the post office and a pathway that took you to the grocery store. And we each also had like our own little house, like here's Sarah's house and here's Sarah's store, and then there's the post office, and here you can go over here to Jordan's house, and then some of our friends would have like their little houses inside of Small Town. And it was very complex. It was a very complex little world where we would use our imagination, and we would have so much fun. And I also created fairy houses when I was younger, when I was little, and I would build these like, essentially it was like a doll house, but it was made more out of pieces of nature and like sticks and leaves. And I'd ask my mom to take me to like Hobby Lobby, and we'd get like I don't know, cute thread and stuff like that. And I would create these fairy houses. And then we would also create these really intense forts outside in the woods. And so there was like a field behind our neighborhood, so we could go in there, and that's like the deep woods and the forest. And inside of the woods, we would make each person would make their own little house, like their little hut. And I kid you not, like I worked so hard on my fort that it was so packed with leaves, sticks, dirt, branches, that I don't think that even if it rained, like you'd probably get wet. It was like very intense. I worked very hard on this fort. And fun was just my world. Fun was the name of the game. And we would get out of school, and we would just go out and play. We would play all day after school, all day on the weekends. Obviously, sometimes we were inside, but I just remember, like, my memory of my childhood is being outside all the time. And obviously, like, life gets more complicated, and you get more responsibilities and more homework and all the things as you get older. But I still felt like I was this agent for fun, even as I grew older. And in high school, for example, we would still like have all sorts of parties and like themed days in our high school. And our basketball team was really good, and we went to the state finals one year, and we would do like really intense like theme, whatever you dress up as, like, or wear a color, and we'd go to the basketball games, and my girlfriends and I would do clothing swaps. And I had a friend who we would do the Random Acts of Kindness Club, and we would drive around to random people in our high school's houses, and we would drop gifts on their doorsteps. And I had a couple friends who I'd make music videos with, which I wish I could find those files and those recordings. And we would do sleepovers, and we'd bake cakes, and it was just fun. Fun was my world. Fun was the name of the game. And even in college I organized fun for literally the whole campus. And I was the chair of our senior graduation committee, SGC. And through this committee that I was a chair of, we like planned cookouts, and we planned like senior soiree, which is kind of like prom for college, and we did a pig roast and like all these different things. And then unofficial from the university, I planned beer Olympics, and I was still drinking beer at that time because I didn't realize I had celiac disease. And all the upperclassmen were invited to Beer Olympics, and it was like there were awards and there were stations and there were relays and there was the Octobong, and we just had so much fun. And even I lived with five guys my junior year of college, and this is a whole side of me that you guys probably have never heard before, right? Am I like blowing your mind right now? And I lived with these 5 guys my junior year, and a lot of my girlfriends were on study abroad, which is, I think, why I lived with these guys. I don't know why I lived with these guys. It was awesome, but it only lasted 1 year. And we would have parties in our house, in our basement. We had a party with Jell-O wrestling, like, not just buy Jell-O from the grocery store, like, Jell-O that's made for Jell-O wrestling. And I was a referee, and we had Jell-O wrestling in the basement, and the cops got called, but we were like determined to not let anyone take away our fun. And we got a noise violation, but we were determined to not let anyone take away our fun. And as a projector, so that's a human design type projector. Projectors, myself, thrive off of pleasure and joy and fun. Yet the world we live in is like not so structured for Tuesday, I'm going to take a spontaneous road trip, or I'm going to make a fort in the backfield and play outside all summer as an adult. And it's not structured for small town imaginary worlds in our basement as adults, obviously, right? But at some point, partially I think because of the world, don't forget the noise violation party to pay the fine. So then that's my mom commenting. We also had a party that same year where we had people bet to the minute of 12:30 a.m., 1 a.m., 11 p.m., 11:06 p.m. And we would placed bets for we knew we were going to get a noise violation. So we placed a bet for what time we were going to get the noise violation at. I think it was like the last party of the year or something. So we were like, screw it, we're going to party. And again, as a projector, I thrive off of that. Not necessarily like parties, but I thrive off of pleasure and fun. And the world we live in is very like linear. It's very masculine. There's a lot of patriarchy. There's a lot of like, put your head down and do what you're told, and this is how you're supposed to be successful, and this is what you're supposed to do and what your role is. And at some point I lost my way. And my inner achiever that I talked about on a previous live this week, I talked about some of the root and the source of my inner achiever and why I've become such a high achiever in my life. But at some point I lost my way, and my inner achiever just took like full reins of my life. And there's good things about that, and there's bad things about that, just like really anything, right? And so success and achievement started to equal fun. Acknowledgement equals fun for me. Winning equals fun for me. Overachieving equals fun for me. And I want you guys to consider for a moment what in your life is fun. What's fun for you? What's fun for you in your life right now? You can also compare it to what used to be fun. Like I just shared with you guys, my fun used to be a lot of adventure and games and imagination and parties and all of the things. Fun for me now looks a lot different. And there's not a right or wrong answer here. There's no right or wrong. It's just a moment for reflection. So I had this moment of reflection yesterday. And I was just sitting and observing myself and going, what's fun for me at 32 years old? Obviously, it's going to be different than what was fun for me at 8 and 10 and 16 and 21 years old. But how do you define your fun? What is fun for you, to you? How do you define fun for yourself in your life at this age you are now? And then how do you fulfill that need or desire for fun? If that is a need and a desire for you, I assume it is to some extent. What is your avenue to receive that? How do you experience fun? Like, do you have game night every Thursday and that's part of how your fun's fulfilled? Do you is fun for you like getting out in nature and hiking with your dog? Is that your avenue for fun? How do you define your fun, and what are the avenues in which you receive and experience fun in your life? So on a call yesterday, as I mentioned, this was really coming up for me yesterday, and I had a full day of calls, so I didn't come on live yesterday. But I had a call with my coach in the morning, and this is a coach who I've worked with like in a long-term container last year, and we just had like a call yesterday. So we hadn't talked in months, in a while, except for like on Facebook. And she was like, wow, Sarah, you are doing so much. And there's so many amazing things happening in your life and in your business, despite the challenge, despite like there's also heavy things. And at the same time, there's so much growth, and you're just, there's so much. And I was like, yes, 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 yes. That's how I have fun. I achieve and I do all the things. Then she was like, but what are you doing for fun? And I was like, what? What do you mean? This is fun. This is how I have my fun. This is fun for me. And she was like, yeah, but like, what about fun that doesn't also equal achieving in your life? And then I remember talking to the same coach last summer, and I was complaining to her last summer going, it was like September, and I was like, where did the summer go? I didn't get to enjoy we have an amazing backyard. I didn't get to enjoy the backyard. I didn't get to lay out in the sun. Those are some things that are fun for me. And I didn't get to like nurture my garden and be in the dirt and the grass as much as I wanted to. And we didn't get up to the lake, and I just had so much going on. I'm going to read some of your comments. What's fun for you guys? Road trips, being in nature, coaching people, daydreaming, being with my two best friends, discussing life's deepest mysteries. My fun used to be the same in college in my early 20s. My fun is way different now. Yeah. I love to have deep conversations with people, read personal development, self-growth books, and learn all about the healing ventures. And that's why you're in Empath Healers. Fun for me is, I can't expand this one for some reason. Fun for me is being able to hang and chill online with my friends, having time to craft and work with my hands, and to be, there it is, to be able to learn new things that interest me versus running around on old playgrounds and burning ourselves on metal slides. Yeah, I've done a lot of that as well. I also loved craft. I still have, well, they're at my mom's house. Hey, Mom. They're at her house. Scrapbooks. Oh my God. I would scrapbook for hours, and I just loved to be creative. I still love to be creative. Creativity is my top value. Okay, so I was reflecting on last summer and going like, I was literally complaining to the same person last summer about how I didn't get to do all the things I wanted to do in the summer because I got so much work and I had so much to do and blah, 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 blah. And then she was like, Sarah, what if you treated fun? Because we know you love fun. We know you thrive off fun. Projectors especially thrive off pleasure, joy, and fun. What if you treated fun like you do learning like a new modality of healing? I was like, that's obviously not like the way I would have looked at it. But if I were to treat fun like something I was learning in my business, I would commit to it 100%. I would make sure I scheduled in time to learn it. And there's no doubt in my mind that I would succeed at it, because I know how committed I am to learning new modalities in my business, in my life. So if I treated fun a little bit like that could be interesting, right? So what if I did apply that to fun? What if fun were a life course? A mandatory prerequisite of being a student of planet Earth and life? What if fun was one of the courses? And I was like, well, I'd probably have way more fun. Done. I can do that. That actually makes it feel so much easier to me because it's a structure that I'm already familiar with and I know I'm already good at. So what if I just put fun into that structure? Okay. So fun gets to be a new priority. So fun gets to be something that I master, like I would a healing modality. So I am bringing fun back to the forefront of my life. I am on a journey with fun. I am getting intimate with fun. And me and fun, we're getting real with each other. I have date night planned with my husband tonight. Bam, check, fun. My inner achiever is like, yeah. And Saturday I have a girls' day at the pool planned. Check. I'm already getting an A in this course, right? I laugh because I know how ridiculous this is, you guys. But that structure works so well for me that if I just put fun into it, as the course is called fun, it happens so much more seamlessly for me in my life. We also, last night, my husband and I sat down and we weren't sure if we were going to take a vacation this summer, and we always take a vacation in August. And we're like, yeah, we're going to take a vacation. We're going to do it. Let's start planning this. We're going to do it. It's going to happen. So we started planning vacation. Fun. Yay. Check. So here's the thing. Sometimes the structure that works effortlessly for you in your life can be utilized to your advantage. This can be utilized to your advantage. So you can benefit from putting new goals or tasks or desires into a structure that you know already works for you and your personality type, even if it seems really weird or not the normal way. For some of you, because some of you listening are like more naturally in your divine feminine and your pleasure, and you're like, I do not need help with fun. I already schedule in fun. I am just like naturally drawn to fun and pleasure. Whereas my personality type, I tend to deny myself that more often, at least. But if you're on the other side of things, then what is a structure or a system or even if it's more flowy, what is something that works really well for you already in your life? And then can you take something that you desire that like hasn't been working so well for you, or you haven't had made time for it, and can you try putting it into this structure that seems so unnatural and see if that might actually work for you? So I took my structure of achieving and how natural that is for me, and I took fun, something that used to feel so natural and at one point lost my way, and also stopped prioritizing it. And at the same time, I know how important it is, and I do desire more of it. So it's like, I want it, lost my way a little bit. Let's stick it into here and see what happens. It's like putting two ingredients together when you're cooking and being like, this could be interesting. It may not end up working, and it may be like the best thing you ever tried and the best thing you ever discovered. So another way to think about this is, I want to ask you a question. And what do you guys say? Pack the car, we're hitting the water park. Fun really should be a course. I can only imagine the homework. Yeah, it would obviously be very fun, probably creative homework. This is actually amazing. I'm glad you guys are appreciating this. So here's what I want you to think about. What are the top values in your life? What are your top values? What are your top values? I think I already shared with you guys, creativity is one of my top values, which is why being an entrepreneur actually fulfills so much for me in my life. And it authentically does bring me so much joy. But that's not the only thing I want to get joy from in my life. That's really limiting. That's really narrow, right? I want to be able to experience it in many other ways outside of my business. So there's nothing wrong with that, but like, let's expand a little bit. And creativity is one of my top values. Your top values may also be things like family, love, connection, community, safety, abundance. Another way of asking this, instead of what are your top values, or what are the things that are most important to you in your life? If you had to make a list of like 5 to 10 things, what would the most important things be to you in your life that you're like, this is a deep need and desire? Safety is one of mine as well. Creativity is my top. Abundance is one of mine. Freedom is another one of my top values. And obviously we each define these things in a different way, or it's going to look different in your life than it might look in somebody else's life. And because now as you think about that and you write down a few things or just think about a few things, likely you are going to try the hardest to get those needs met. So of the infinite, however many like number of needs that we have, emotional, physical, everything in between as human beings, the things that you value most, that are the top of your list, are also going to be the things that you do, that you try above all else to make sure those needs get met, because they're very important to you, whether that's an unconscious process or a conscious process. So think about that for a second. If you notice that, like, for example, safety tends to be at the top of a lot of people's lists, you may not be like literally going, I am going to try so hard to feel safe today. But unconsciously, your behaviors, your patterns, your decisions, they are trying really hard to feel safe. So it might be conscious, it might be unconscious. If you know family, for example, is your top value, you're going to try really hard to meet that value of family. So that might be more of a conscious effort where you're like, we have Sunday, like, extended family gatherings and dinners, and that's something that we just do. I really put in the effort and the energy to make sure that family is a priority. And because family is such a top priority for me, I also like make sure that we all turn our phones off at dinner, and I make sure that we have family trips, or we have quality time together. And then within those top couple values, notice like you probably are trying really hard in your life to make sure that those get met. Maybe you've also found a system that helps you to meet those needs. Okay, so creativity is one of my top values, one of my top needs in my life as a human being. And I have found a way to meet that value that now feels very easy. It feels very effortless. And creativity is something I don't even like worry about that. It's like I always have, every single day I have the opportunity to be creative. I know so many different ways I can creatively express myself, and I have a system for that creativity in my life. So because I'm so good at that, because I've worked so hard on that and I've really mastered that in my life, and that's good for you generators and manifesting generators listening, you're great at mastery. Your life purpose is mastery. So I've gotten really good at that, and the way in which I've been able to get really good and master that in my life, maybe I can use some of that to my advantage. Does that make sense? So I want you to think of a goal that you're like not quite like winning at. You haven't quite achieved. It's like, I want to do this, or I've been trying to do that for a while, but I'm still not quite there. Can you guys think of a goal like that? For me, it's fun. It's not like earn more money or like sign more clients. And it might be for you, but for me, it's like on the feminine side of things, it's just like, so I've had this goal for like since last summer about like getting outside more and having more fun. And I seem to just still not prioritize that. I find fun in my business, but like, where is it outside of the business? Okay. And then once you know what that thing is that maybe you want to look at from a different lens, are there any structures from other parts of your life that are working that you might be able to at least play with and try to apply to that thing, that desire, that goal that you haven't quite achieved? Okay? So again, I use my overachieving to fun, and I don't know what's going to happen, but that's the intention today, is to try it out. And I want you guys to let me know what you come up with. Like, what is the desire that you don't have quite like balanced or whatever achieved in your life? What is the structure that you're going to try to apply to it? And then let me know. Let me know. Okay? And see how creative you can be. See how creative you can be in applying things that, it's like, again, those ingredients. You're like, this does not go with this. This is not the traditional way. This, I don't know, like 2 ingredients that don't go together. What doesn't go together? I can't think of anything. Carrots and chocolate. That seems weird. I don't think that would be good. But that's the point. It's like carrots and chocolate. That seems weird. What if I were to try it out? And maybe that could actually be a solution. So it's getting creative in your problem solving as well. If you are the achiever like myself, Enneagram type 3, you don't have to be an Enneagram type 3, but you just might have like some structure, some high achiever within you somewhere. And if your intention is also more fun, try it out with me. Let me know how it goes for you. Can you give some examples of a structure? Yeah, so like, let's say we want to go back to the values. What is a top value? What's a top value for you? So if your top value is family, then you have a structure that you have created to make sure that your value, your need of family connection is met in your life. That might be a way in which you structure your time. It may be a way in which you live, a way in which you communicate. There's an important one there. A way in which you communicate with your family. Are there any parts of that structure around your family that you can apply to the thing that you desire? Let's think of one more. So what if your top value is connection? If your top value is connection, you probably have a way in which you assure you feel connected in your life. I don't know what that way is going to be. I can come up with examples, but you know how you meet that need of connection in your life. How? There's a structure in there somewhere. And then can you take that structure and apply it to something else and see? You might be like, this carrot dipped in chocolate is disgusting. That doesn't work. Okay, that's fine. But maybe I'm going to try like a grape and chocolate next time. And like, I just discovered the most delicious thing that is going to be so easy for me now to receive in my life, like the fun. And see how it goes. Okay, that's all for today. I've got a call in 5 minutes with a PR agency. I'm like vetting some PR agencies today to help my brand out, The Uncensored Empath, and get us more seen and visible and promote my book, 21 Days of Healing. As a reminder, if you're trying to find the most easy path and structure for you to meet your goals in your life, I highly recommend my new course. It is Human Design for Empath Entrepreneurs. There's still not a sales page, but if you're interested, shoot me a DM. I can tell you more about it. I can see if you're a good fit, and I can give you the link to join because the materials are all ready. And it's a really good customized approach, individualized approach to achieving your goals in your business and in your life based on you and your individuality, your unique energy, and the energetic makeup of you. And if you guys just want some like more fun and love and healing and sisterhood and community, also shoot me a DM because Empath Healers membership is open and we've had 3 calls now. We have breathwork next week, and it's just our call. Was that yesterday? It was Tuesday. We had a call, and it was just so nourishing for the soul. And if one of your goals is community and connection and you feel like that's not being met right now, consider joining the membership because it's such an amazing group of women. Exactly, Sandy. I used to think potato chips and chocolate would be weird together, but they were so good. Exactly. All right, my loves. So there's a couple opportunities to work together and to learn more. Otherwise, I want to know what you learned from today's conversation and live stream, and I will keep you updated on my journey. I hope you also like got a little insight, like a little crack of the door into like Sarah Small, age 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. You probably learned a little bit more about me and my past today. All right, I will see you guys tomorrow.